Okay, so in this live, I'm going to be working on orders a little bit, and we are going to be discussing craft show market prep. So I figure it's the middle of the day. Many people are probably like at work right now, so can't tune in. But you guys can watch like the replay on this and then get the same information. This is a video that I think I might have recorded this one already, but I've been having trouble getting, like, my videos out because I have so many orders on Etsy right now. So, as a way to, like, kinda get the content out, I'm doing this live right now because there's a hurricane coming right at Florida, like, where I live. So, Zach is off of work, and he was able to take the kids out because, like, nothing's happening currently. So I just wanna answer any questions you guys might have and then share how I prepare for craft shows, especially outside of just like making plushies. Because I don't think people realize when they get into it that like preparing your inventory, well, that's probably one of the most time consuming parts, is not the only thing you should be doing. So let's just first start with answering everybody's first question, how much you should bring. And this topic kind of gets skipped by people because I feel like they don't exactly know how to like explain it, or like it's so personalized to everyone, but you can like figure it out for yourself. So, the general rule of thumb is if you want to make like $500, you need to bring at least $1,000 worth of inventory. So, how you can figure out exactly how many plushies to make is figure out what you want your like average price point to be. So I make everything from like $5 items to $40 items typically, though this time I definitely went over that. So my like middle price range is 20. So if I want to make $500, but I'm bringing $1,000 worth of inventory and my average price is about $20. If you work backwards and do that math, that means I need to bring at least 50 plushies. So if you're the kind of person that only has the time to make one plushie a day, then you need at least a month and a half to prepare. There's been some weeks where I can make like 20 plushies, so I would only need a few weeks to a month to prepare. But these are things that you should be keeping in mind for your next craft show or for your very first craft show. It helps to have that like goal. Um, and as far as having a crochet business in general, I just watched another YouTuber cover like how to start your business. And the first thing she said to do is like pick your business name. I would not do that. I would not do that at all. In my opinion, you should figure out what you're going to be making first. Start making that stuff so you know that's what you want to make for your business, and then brand yourself. Because I thought I was going to get into like baby clothes and be making things with like nice natural cotton yarn. So my business name is Cotton Baby Crochet, and I don't do that. So I've had like an identity crisis more or less. Like I want to change my business name, but I don't know what to change it to. So I would just focus on what you need to make for your craft show before you get into branding. And then you can like work backwards from there on that as well. Do you close your online shop when you are market prepping? No, and I probably should have because my shop blew up like all of a sudden and I have like 5 custom orders right now like in my queue, and that was after finishing 2. And one of the 2 had 8 different items in it, and then the one at the end of my queue has 4 items in it. And that first one that had 8 in it, 4 of the 8 took like 8 hours each. So it basically forced me to take a pause on market prep. So this week is extra stressful. So I am kind of happy there's a hurricane. Um, Hopefully it stays north because poor Fort Myers, like it took people out the last one we had last year. That was pretty bad. Um, but that's why I'm happy that my spouse gets to be home so I can like have more time to just like straight up crochet and work on my market prep, because some of the other things that I have to do include tagging all my new products, which I have a bunch of new ones, get them into my Square Reader. Both of those are very time consuming. because I handwrite all my tags. I mean, even if I printed them, attaching them to each thing, and I feel like you kind of should attach tags to each of your items like individually, unless you have a bin you can put them in, and everything in that bin is like $10. That's like people are like socially awkward, so don't want to have to ask you for the price, and you'll lose sales if your prices aren't like, you know, easy to see, understand. Because like how awkward would that be if like you think, oh, that's only a $10 item, I won't put a price on that. Someone could just ask, and that person doesn't have $10, and you tell them it's $10, and then they're like, I'm gonna go. It just makes everybody uncomfortable. So tag your items. But that's a big thing that I feel like people, even who have done craft shows a lot, they'll like push off that to like the last minute and then realize they're going to spend the next like 3-4 hours tagging items and getting the inventory to their Square reader. And I have a video that I can link in the description for the replay that goes through how you add inventory to your Square reader and like how I keep track of my inventory. I've like got a paper. And of course, I'm going to do that video that everybody loves, the what I'm bringing to my next market and my price points. So yeah, there's a lot to do. I also have to make new signage. That's going to be a time consuming thing. I use Canva. For anybody who's not familiar with Canva, you can get it for free, though there are like pro items on it. But if you're just literally making like a sign that says your business name or a sign that just says a price, like you can do that all for free on canva.com. Thank you. I definitely really think I need to rebrand, but I don't know what to call my business. I like to make plushies, and that's pretty much like where I've landed almost exclusively. And I don't just want to be like, you know, like Crochet by Gemma is a good example. It's just crochet by name. I want it to have a little more zest than that. Not that that's bad, because that covers who you are and what you do, so it's very concise. But even the La Petite Saint Crochet lady just changed her name to like Elise Rose Crochet, and it's just very like not enough zest for me. How do you find your market events / places? So there are 2 ways that you can kind of do it. Well, 3. You can Google like craft events near me and see what comes up. There are websites that you could like pay for leads, but I've always found mine for free. Obviously, there's usually like payment to get into the event. So that's one way. Another great way, I really like to use Facebook. Facebook, you could do that same kind of thing. Type in like craft fairs near me, and it'll bring up like the full events list. And then usually when you find the event list, like you'll be able to like read through everything, and there'll be like a link to fill out the form for like vendors. So that's good. And in the past, when there's not been a link specifically for vendors, I've just messaged the person or like commented on the thing like, hey, I'm looking to be a vendor. Like, do you guys have an application? And that tends to work out. And then once you're at the event, how I've found other events is just through word of mouth. You get to know your buddy, and they'll tell you, oh, I did this show like right up the road. It was great. Or, you know, I heard great things about this one show, but then I went to it and like there was like no people and it was just dead. So that's how you could kind of like vet events. And then if you ever come across an event that wants you to pay with your application, don't be weirded out, because it does happen sometimes. But if you're uncomfortable, because I was uncomfortable the first time I encountered it, you can literally call the supposed venue that it's supposed to be at and see like, hey, this says it's in November, but I don't see it on your website. And I just want to make sure like everything's on the up and up. Is there going to be an event there? And it was confirmed for me for my November event that there was going to actually be an event there. Hey, people are coming home.
Jagger's sick.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he got way too hot.
Okay. Apparently my baby is sick.
Oh no.
Here, I got water first.
Buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna get his clothes and
He got like a huge.
I guess I'll give him water.
Yeah, give him some fluids.
Well, he just had a bunch in the car.
And then he vomited even more.
We're going, buddy.
Do you think I should stop?
Oh, you'd be all right.
Okay. Let me know. So there's a hurricane, but it's still hot as heck here, and my baby got sick. He's just throwing up. We did have Taco Bell right before he went, which is probably not great. I don't think he needs a fan. Zach's gonna go put him under some water. Well, there's my craft fair fan in the back on the table. And then if you don't wake up Judah, there's like the little fan on my side table. Oh no. But yeah, vet events if you're uncomfortable, and that's just how I find them. It's just internet and then word of mouth. The next event I'm doing, my friend who is like a jewelry seller actually told me about, and that was a good one. I did it in I think April, and it turned out like really well. Hello, and
Should you be still sleeping?
yeah, Judah's still sleeping. Naughty Canuck, is that how you say that? That's really funny. I kind of like that though. Too bad. Do they actually like have the rights to the name? Because you could technically still use it if it's not like trademarked or copyrighted for, whatever. Especially if you add your first name like in front of it, that I feel like should make it legally different, but I don't know 100% for sure, so don't like quote me on that. But I like that. But yeah, I'm struggling with the name thing too. And as far as nerves go, I still get nervous before like all my events, but like once you get there and like start setting up, usually the stress of having so much to do in such a short time really just like clears the nerves away. At least for me. Like I then become like hyper focused on making sure everything looks right and I don't have time to be nervous. And then I found with like crochet, everybody is like loves the cute little fluffy things. So they'll come up and talk to you. And then, like, that's the icebreaker. Someone else has started the conversation. And I feel like that helps kind of break nerves a little bit because you don't have to be like the first person to go. You know what I'm saying? But if you ever like want a nice icebreaker for someone approaching your booth, just like have a thing that you say to everybody. I say like, "Hi, welcome in. Let me know if you have any questions." And then balls totally in their court, and my dog barked. And then like if they have questions, they'll let me know. I'm not like following them around my booth and being like overly like pressury. So, especially if they're like socially awkward, they can just like give the nod and keep going. Those who are socially awkward know the nod, like, Um, oh, well, for a woodworking company, that's actually kind of clever. I like that. But yeah, that's such a bummer. And if that's like what you built your like brand so far around, that does kind of suck to go back and like find out that it's taken. So when you do go to pick your shop name, for those who haven't yet, a good way to like figure out if it's free is to like check social media sites, like type it in. You could search like a shop name on Etsy and see if anything comes up. That way, like, it's free on all social media. And then there's like the trademark website. I forget what it's called, but you could like type in like trademark website and then like type in your business name and it'll let you know if there's like a trademark on it or if it's pending and all that stuff. So, if it's like free. Because with my name, I learned after the fact, Cotton Baby is like something related to like I think it was like Nike shoes or like Kanye West or somebody. Like somebody's shoes or like Cotton Baby something. And I had no idea because I didn't do that. My door is still open, so I'm gonna get that. Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, the like hurricane winds coming in, so it'll just like slam repeatedly. How many different plushies are you making for your market? Is it better to have less different items? like many in different colors, or many different plushies, like only one of them. So a lot of people do this differently, and I actually like recently asked this question to people because I honestly get sick of making the same item repeatedly. But on the other hand, it is harder to stage like one-off items than it is to have like items that you can put all together in like a bin or a basket. So it is a matter of preference, but just know if you do the one-off route, then you're like staging, you should definitely do that ahead of time. I like to do it in like my front or backyard. I'll pull out at least my tables. I don't pull out the tent. I just like mark off the 10 foot by 10 foot, and then set it up, because sometimes plushies that are like meant to stand up don't. Then if you realize something's like too tall, so when you lean it back against something, it just kind of like slides down. Like you work out all those kinks ahead of time. But if you do the like multiple of the same item, I would make sure you're covering different price points. So have like a basket of like $5 items, $10 items, $20 items, like that. So you give people options. Don't just make like a bunch of like big items so you have nothing like little, you know what I'm saying? And then if you weren't here at the very beginning, I think you were, because I think you were like one of the first people to ask a question. I said basically figure out what your average price point is going to be and then like work backwards. So if you want to make like $1,000 or $500, you need to bring at least $1,000 worth of stuff. And if your average price point is say like $10, then you know that you need to bring like 100 plushies. And then you decide for yourself what your preference is, how you want to spread that out. Do you want to make, like 10 different $10 items, or, just a little bit of everything? I personally like to, and I covered this in a video, which I guess I'll link in the description when I get to the description box. I don't know how lives work. I like to make a list of like, ideally, this is what I like to make. And then I'll either go down the list, or if I get bored making the same thing, because I do have a few things that I make multiples of because they're good sellers. Like I usually make multiple mushrooms, multiple bees, multiple frogs. I'm trying to make multiple turtles right now, but I honestly, and I know this is like controversial, hate making turtles. Even the no-sew ones, they're just not that fun. They come out cute, so I don't regret making them. It's just in the moment, I'm like, this is not that fun. But I'll have like somebody in my house pick a number between like 1 and however many are on my list, and then I'll go to that item and like make that if I want to mix it up. But I do a combination of both to answer the question specifically what I do. Like I said, I usually have a few different dinosaurs, a few different bees, a few different mushrooms, a few different frogs. I do a ton of octos in different sizes, probably way too many compared to like everything else, but they just work up so quick. So it's nice to have something to sell. And then I make big items. I have 2 like super extra big items that are like over the $75 price point. And that was just me deciding I wanted to make something, but I also don't want to keep it in my house. I'm going to try to sell it. But I think it'll be good because it'll be something that can like draw people to my table. You know what I'm saying? So I don't expect them to sell, but they'll be able to see it from like way across the way. Yeah, I like to make a large attention getter for my upcoming show. Do you have any suggestions on what make good attention getters? I've seen some people do like giant squids, and giant octos that look cool. One lady on the YouTube, I don't remember her name, she has a giant unicorn and it's priced at like, I think it was like $250. But it's just a matter of preference. My 2 big things right now are a teacup gnome and like a giant mushroom boy. Both of those were like worsted weight patterns that I made with plush yarn, so it made them ginormous. What you doing?
Going to get Jagger's car seat cover and his sky.
Oh, good. Is he good?
Yeah, he's asking for sky, so he seems good.
Okay.
Yeah, he threw up like a lot as soon as he drank the water, like literally a whole entire mountain. he was crying, so I just thought he got his finger stuck in like the little grids on the like thing. But then when I looked, he threw up, and then he threw up some more. Zach came up, carried him back, threw up again. We got into the car. He threw up just a little bit, and then he a little bit more, and then as soon as he drank some more water, literally all of it.
He had like a soda from Taco Bell, like that. Yeah, but obviously not that big because he's a baby. Run along now. Sorry, just checking on the baby, making sure he's good. I really think it was like the carbonated drink because we don't tend to let him get soda. He gets like lemonade, but Zach ordered him a soda and I just didn't protest. And then they decided to go to the park because everybody's home and the weather's clear, and I just don't think it's that well. But yeah, as far as your like attention getter, that's really like a matter of preference. I don't think, I mean, to a point, you should have what you make kind of refined. In the past, I've had people tell me that I should do like towel toppers and like washcloths and facial scrubby things, which I might make for like myself, just to see, because I've never made any of that stuff. But I also don't think that it goes with like the image of my booth because it's all like colorful plushies and all the things, so it's like kind of off brand. So I don't think you have to go like to the extreme where like all your stuff is like cottagecore-esque, but like you should just kind of like have it match your style.
It better be Joanne's mom. You'll understand.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can't reach it. The poor thing.
Joanne's.
Oh, you're bringing in Judas too?
Yeah,
You
we
should.
need it for tonight. So.
Well, yeah, you should wash his too.
Might as well.
Why do we need it for tonight?
Because if there's a tornado, you're supposed to strap babies into car seats. So if they get like flung, they're like supported.
Are we going outside?
No.
Why?
No.
Why do we?
That's very Floridian of you to want to go stand outside in the hurricane.
I mean, I kind of want to do it too because I want to like.
No.
I want.
Dumb ways to die.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, real life for sure. My favorite yarn shop is probably like Joann's, Michael's, and Hobby Lobby. That's not true. Well, that's a little bit true. I'm starting to get more into Parfait Chunky. I don't like that it's so thin, even though it calls itself like super bulky yarn. But what I've been doing is like holding it double while I crochet, which helps. Janessa, go get my 2 turtles that I made.
Okay.
Where's Rebel? He said.
Oh, we don't have Rebel.
I think he said Rebel. Maybe he said remote.
Maybe saying something else.
Yeah, see, the kid's fine. He's yelling demands at us.
There's sister and sister. You had tortoise and a turtle. 2 different ones.
So this is, and I kind of covered this in a video, like the different yarn weights for Sweet Snuggles, Bernat Blanket, and Parfait Chunky. Parfait Chunky is the thinnest, but it works up just a little bit bigger than Bernat Blanket when you hold it double. So this is held double with Crochet by Gemma's mini sea turtle. Oh, that's my bad. Oh, and these eyes are from an Etsy shop, like Pink Tomato, something like that.
Yeah, Pink Tomato.
And they're cute. They were pretty affordable too, except they came from the UK, so they took like a hot minute to get it here. And the shop owner technically shipped a day late, which I'm not gonna like bad review her over, but like I had reached out to her because it had been like 3 weeks and I had like heard nothing. Like, no, thank you for the order. No, it's gonna ship this date. And I just think communication wise, if you're like an online shop and your turnaround time is especially long, like mine is 2 to 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how many plushies I have like in my queue, you should communicate with your customers. Like, it's okay. It goes into customer service, and had she messaged me and said something like, oh, hey, thank you for your order. My turnaround time is like 3 weeks, and then I didn't hear anything for 3 weeks, that would be totally different than like just hearing nothing at all. So I had to reach out to her, and she said, well, today's my last day to ship. But then I seen like the label wasn't even printed. But just like, bro, be honest. And if you're getting to the point where you're shipping on like the last day of your like total turnaround time, just bump that bad boy up like a few days. Like, so you have the illusion that you ship early. I can usually finish my custom orders in like a week, but I'll have my shipping set for like 2 weeks because it just makes it seem like I'm catering especially to the customer because I gave them their order like extra fast. That's just what I do. Personal preference. There's no like law about that, but I think it goes a long way. And I have far more positive reviews than I have negative reviews on my Etsy. In fact, I think I have like 5 stars even with no negative reviews about my crochet and a few negative reviews back from when I did jam. But like we're talking like 3 in total. What? Sure, but why don't you drink some water and sit for a second before you like go out and you get sick too?
Okay.
These kids, I tell you what.
I never do that.
The baby is sleeping at least. Yeah. If you guys didn't know, if there's a tornado, I heard this like a long time ago. Strap your like young children into car seats. So like if a tornado happens, they're like supported and not just getting like flung into something. And then go to like the room in your house that's like at the centermost. It has no windows, you know, cover your head like they did in school. Did you guys have tornado drills? We had tornado drills.
Yeah. Sit on the side
Yeah,
of the tornadoes.
under the desk.
Oh my God, where'd the
But
people go?
they came out cute. Oh, this is, what's her name? Tessa, I think.
Yeah.
And Zach made fun of me because I called it a land turtle and not like a tortoise, but it's a land turtle. It goes on the land.
It can go either way.
And I made them both. I think this is called lavender, and I think this is mint, and they're parfait chunky.
I know.
So I've been kind of getting into parfait chunky recently, but I like burnout blanket, which you could buy at Michael's and Joann's, and you used to be able to get it at Hobby Lobby too. But I don't know, because there was a thing a while back, and I made a short about it, how like Hobby Lobby is going more into home decor and shortening their like craft aisles down, which I don't know why, because like that's the hobby part in Hobby Lobby. We already have like a home goods. I don't think we need another one, but yeah. But yeah, I mostly use now plush yarns. And I did just order more from Premier Yarns, which I really got to stop buying yarn. At least the last yarn run I made was only because I needed a color for an order. This like light gray that I ran out of doing the order. And I have another cat order that's going to be in that. So the last time I went, I only bought yarn for an order. I did pick up a skein that I was going to buy also, but then I put it back. That is like hard to do sometimes. The legs, this is a no-sew one. This is not a no-sew one. But sometimes I feel like no-sew, as much as I love All From Jade, and I think this is Tessa the Turtle or Tessa the Tortoise or something like that, I almost would prefer to just make the legs and sew them on, because then I'm like over here like doing all the things trying to get it on, and it's awkward, and the head wasn't like stitched into place yet, so then it was like flopping all over the place. But after I powered through and made it anyway, it did come out cute, and I do like the legs, and it like stands up like nice. Aren't they cute?
They're sisters.
I did find a YouTube video too that I'm gonna write down the pattern for, to make like small guys, because I thought these were gonna come out smaller than they were, but because of their size, these are gonna be like $25-$30 turtles. But I wanted more affordable turtles because I always get asked about turtles, and I just never have that many because I really don't like making them. Yes, Shanessa, you could go. Adios. Shut the door all the way. shut the door all the way, because every time you walk out the screen door, you leave that open. And then I think I'm being robbed because I'm like home alone with a baby, and my door is like opening and I can like hear it. And then like a second later, I'll realize what happens when it slams shut, and then it makes the dog bark and it's a mess. And Ola, hello, welcome. We're covering market prep. So, yes. Do you guys have any other questions about market prep? I guess it was like a lot simpler of a video than like I intended it to be. Oh, what else do I bring? Okay, so to do markets, most of the time you need a tent unless it's indoors. Sometimes events provide tents, but in most cases you'll need your own. Typically the standard spot size, at least in the US. I don't know if this is different for like if you live in the UK and do markets over there, but typically this spot is like 10 by 10. So you'll want to figure out how many tables you want to fill that space. I do a 4-foot table, a 6-foot table, and then another 6-foot table. Or sometimes I swap them and it'll be 6 and 6 with the 4-foot table over here. That way there's like a little gap so I could walk to my chair and I kind of sit in that gap so I could see everybody, and it forces them to come in and walk around. I have a video about my market setup too, which I can link when I finish with this. I'm sure there's a way to link it now, but I don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to. But you could just back in like the replay and like get the Square video and like the Square app link if you don't have one, and all that things. So you'll want to figure out your tables. I have 3. I thought about getting a 4th and doing a full U, but instead of doing that, I bought some really expensive grid walls that I really like, but I was like horribly offended by the price because just the walls themselves for the 3-pack was like $170, which like it hurt a little. And then you have to go back and like buy the baskets for it. Like, what is that? It can't just come with it. Like, you need more of my money. But they are nice, and it's gonna change my like whole setup. So I do like them, but it just like physically hurt. It just really physically hurt. And like, this is a 2-income household, and I've got like 3 different revenue streams myself, and it hurt me. So like, if you're a normal person that has like normal jobs and normal bills, like $178 is like a lot, like a lot. But they're 6 foot tall, 2 foot wide, and I got 3 of them. And then I got like little baskets that I have like the Weeby aliens, and I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. The Weeby aliens and the chunky boy mushrooms and like the leggy frogs like all sit in the little baskets really nice. So I could do them like side by side by side. And then I got big like shallow baskets. So that's where I have like a whole one of like dinosaurs and then like a whole one of octos. And then I'm trying to make like a whole one with like the turtles. And I really like this color scheme. I have like more yarn around me because I was going to make more turtles. Like these 2. It's going to make a cute turtle. I've got a purple and blue down there for another turtle. But yes, so you'll need your tables, your display props. Really, I think people overlook the displays, especially if you're doing amigurumi. A lot of times, some of my biggest customers are like children. So don't be afraid to just do bins on the table, especially because that's like a really affordable way to do it, because you could go down to like the Dollar Tree, pay like $1.25 for usually like a 4-pack of like baskets or bins, and then you can have your stuff like laid out that way. And you can even like turn the bin on its side. Like, I spilled some things, but like you could set it on the table like this and then have your stuff like sitting in it. I'll pick up my yarn later. I'm making this blanket from Annie's Crochet Club, and I have a video about that coming at some point too. At this point, I'm gonna like hire an editor for a couple of videos to like get me back on track because I got so much to do. But yes, so you'll want your tables or your grid walls and your bins, and you'll want to like have like price stickers or price signs. You'll want to have things that have like where they can find you. So like if you only post on Facebook, don't be afraid to just like have your Facebook information so people can like follow you on Facebook or Instagram or like whatever other TikTok. What are the kids doing these days? You don't have to have like a full paid website. You don't have to have like a whole Etsy store. But of course, if you do, include that information too. Do you have business cards? If you do, where do you get them? Another question, do you have a logo for your business? And if you do, have you created the logo on your own? I do have business cards. In the past, I've gotten them directly from Canva. You can design on Canva and then actually pay to have them printed and delivered all through Canva. For like my first business, which was making jam and jelly. Oops. That's how I did it because I didn't know anything else. Now I use Vistaprint, which is like an actual like printing service. You can, to a point, design in Vistaprint as well, but I usually design in Canva still and then bring my design over to Vistaprint and have it print that way. Price-wise, I think they're very comparable. Quality-wise, I think Vistaprint's a little bit better, but my business cards through Canva weren't bad at all. And when they messed up, because they did technically mess up my first batch, they like resent them for free and everything. So they like made it right. They like printed it and like my design was like slightly over. So there was like a white edge on the card. And that's like not how the design actually looked. So that was just like a printing error. And I did design like everything for my business myself, just right in Canva. I have the pro account, which is like $12.95 a month or something like that. $13.95 a month. Right around 13, 14 bucks. But to a point, you can do a lot of different designs for free. You don't have to have the paid account to do designing. You just might not have access to like a specific like element you want to use. Like you'll get borders, but if you wanted like specific floral border, like that might be on the pro account. But I do know if you're only going to use Canva for designing your business business cards and your like logo and everything, and you don't want to pay for the pro account, I think one-off you can like purchase like that specific element that you want without having the account, you know? And they're usually a couple of bucks depending on like what it is that you're looking to purchase, whether it's like a font or like a design element. Oh, and you might not have access to like all the editing tools. Like I think background remover is like a full pro account thing. So if you have like a picture of yourself you're trying to put on your business card, but you took it and like you have a background, but you only want you, you're not going to be able to like remove the background unless you have the pro account. But you know, you could always get the pro account for like 1 month, design all your promotional materials, and then cancel.
I put my bike under the thingy.
What thing?
I put my bike under the porch. So
That's probably smart.
Yeah, because I just thought of that because I was gonna put it down, but I put it under there. So if it does blow away, it doesn't go anywhere. And if it does, then I'm retrieving it then.
Okay.
If it can. And can I sleep in your guys' room?
Probably not, no. Jagger is going to be sleeping on that side of the house. I mean, if it's too bad, we'll be like together. Like, I haven't killed you yet.
Can I sleep in Jagger's room?
I doubt it, because Jagger will not go to bed if you're in the room. What is the best yarn to use for amigurumi and to be able to find colors? The best yarn depends on preference. Yeah, for real, I haven't killed her yet. I have a good track record of keeping her alive. The best yarn is a matter of preference. When I first started, if you had given me like Bernat blanket to try to crochet with, I'd have been like, what? Like I didn't for a long time figure out where my stitches were. I used stitch markers at first, like a lot, like do a stitch, put a stitch marker in, do a stitch, put a stitch marker in. So that was like a lot for like this size project. But you get better at time. If you're just getting into crocheting plushies and you want to use like plush yarn, I think the stitch definition on Parfait Chunky is actually pretty good. You can see the stitch, it's just kind of fuzzy. So I feel like that helps. But for a long time, I used only like worsted weight yarn. And when I wanted to make something bigger, I just held it double because like I wasn't skilled in the way of like blanket yarn yet. And then to find colors, I'm not good at pairing colors together. So I'll be honest, I will go to like crochet people's like Instagrams and like watch YouTube videos and get color scheme ideas because I'm just not, for someone who does like an art kind of based business, I'm not very creative. So I just struggle with colors. Like in my head, when I think turtle, I think green. I think like green turtle, brown shell. So like that's about as far as my mind goes by itself, like very by the book. I wouldn't have thought to like make a turtle like this. But I've seen somebody else do like the same type of color scheme, and I'm like, well, that's cute. I like that. So yeah, that's kind of how I got my like ideas for the other colors too. I just look at other people's stuff and copy. But don't do that with like writing your own patterns because I've seen people do that. There's a difference between like writing your own turtle pattern, even if it looks similar to somebody else's, and like literally taking their pattern and like just writing the rows differently. Like instead of like increase 2 single crochet, writing 2 single crochet increase, like that doesn't make the pattern different. You have to do something different about it. Like if you take the same type of turtle but make it like bigger and or smaller, like that counts as being different and not stealing. But just like be mindful. If someone did it to you, would you be happy? Ooh. Yeah, just chenille, from what I've seen, I've not used it, has about the same kind of consistency of the Parfait Chunky. It's like shorter fuzzy yarn and not like full like plush. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like a crushed velvet material. So you could see the stitches like a little bit better. One yarn that I haven't used yet that I've been seeing a lot that's like blowing up is that like actual fuzzy yarn. Like you can't see your stitches at all. And I've been crocheting for like a while now, and I don't know that I'd be able to do it. I mean, I can kind of do a lot by feel now. Like if I'm just going around in a circle, I almost don't have to look. So I might be able to do it, but like actual true fuzzy yarn seems like it'd be like real challenging. But I want to make a bunny in it. I just haven't bought any yet because I'm trying to like, you know, restrain myself and not spend all my money on yarn. It's hard too to go back from worsted weight yarn or back from like plush yarn to worsted weight yarn. And when I first started, I was going to be making like baby clothes. I have a lot of like sport weight. If you live in another country, I don't know what's 4-ply. I under your yarn coating system, but here it's like lace weight is 1, sport weight or like baby yarn is 2. 3 is DK, and then 4 is worsted weight. So it's like half as thin as like regular yarn. I almost can't even use that now. It's like real hard on the hands. But I just seen somebody. Oh, I put up all my lace hooks. Not that I was using them. I just like weeded out what I don't normally use off my like little cart here. But someone had like a super thin hook like this, but that didn't have a grip, and took like a makeup sponge and like impaled it and then had that crocheting with it. I almost think I could use thin yarn again if I did that, but it's just like hard on the hands now. And like holding it and trying to do magic rings, I think magic rings got easier with the chunkier yarn because like you'd be trying to like pull through and it just like flips the magic ring on you. Yeah, tiny hooks, they're hard, which bothers me immensely because I've been seeing a lot of crochet jewelry, which I feel like could be nice to like get into, even though I don't wear any jewelry. But my friend makes jewelry, so I keep buying jewelry from her because A, I want to support the cause, and B, it's pretty. But I just like buy it and then like put it in a bin because I just don't go out or wear jewelry. But she made some really cute stuff. I like it a lot. Her business is Rebecca Merker Designs. If you guys are like interested, she works with like all different types of like stones and crystals and things to make like actual like high-end looking jewelry, but it's fairly like affordable. I like it. Yeah, the micro crochet, I can only imagine, even though it comes out like this big, how long that took you. Because I know that took you like hours to make. And I just don't know if I could do that. Like, I like the plushies because the completion thing in me likes to be able to like get that hit of dopamine every time you finish something. But I just don't know if the payoff would be worth it for something microscopic. But that's exactly the like ideal customer, probably, as children wanting like a mini collection of like tiny food. But what else with the market prep? Oh, if you're bringing cash to your market, first, I don't think you should only do cash sales. Now, this is technically a personal opinion, but it's backed up by most other people who do sell. And I get it if you can't afford the credit card reader at first. So if you go to your first event and only take cash, maybe use the money from that event to buy your credit card reader. But you want to also bring cash to do cash sales too, because there are some people that don't feel comfortable paying a stranger with a card, which is totally fine. I bring at least like $150 worth of like cash and change to be able to break money. It hasn't happened to me yet, but if someone came up to me at the start of a show with $100 bill and wanted to break it, I know that I have the cash in my cash bin to do that, and he doesn't have to go somewhere else and maybe not come back, or go somewhere else to break the money to come back, and then he's got like, well, she wasn't prepared kind of taste in his mouth about my business. So that's how much money I keep in my cash box. Usually a couple 20s, couple of 10s, and then lots of 5s and 1s. And then we literally just took our like jug of change. We have a change jar, like I feel like most people, and dumped it out. And then I filled like my little compartments. So there's usually about $150 in my cash box. Don't leave your cash box unattended. If you do need to leave it unattended, lock it and leave it with your like partner if you think they're trustworthy. Don't leave it in your car overnight. I think it was Cameron from Cameron's Cute Creations that she says she is English, that said she left her cash box like in her car before an event and it got stolen out of her car. So don't do that. Make sure you're like aware of your money. And I do a cash box, but an alternative to the cash box thing that I know a lot of people do is like an apron. So they have their money in there, like kind of waitress style. What do you think of Michael's Maker Store? What is that? Is that their like new version of like Etsy or whatever it was? Because I heard there was like gonna be a thing like that. But so far, no opinion because I'm not sure what it is. So as far as that goes, and I won't speak directly about Michael's because I've not seen it, tried it, but I know in the past there's other businesses, companies, whatever, that try to come in and do the Etsy thing. Just like people try to come in and like do the Amazon thing and it just doesn't work out well. I don't think they'll ever be able to like step on the toes of Etsy. But they probably treat their sellers better. And I won't talk too much crap about Etsy because I've had good experiences and I just treat my customers the way I would want to be treated. Whereas I know some businesses aren't always like that. And then fire off complaints about Etsy left, right, and center. I think Etsy can be reasonably affordable. You need to pay 20 cents a listing to get started, and they only take fees out of your sales if you make a sale. So other than that listing fee and the renewal fee in 4 months when that listing renews, They're not actually taking money out of your pocket. Whereas to sell on something like Amazon, you have to pay like a monthly fee just to be on the platform. So Etsy, like wins there. The transaction fees are really, I think, like 6.5%. They're not super high, especially when you compare like having your own website. Most of the time, a website is like $20 to $30 a month. Like that's if you make sales or not. Etsy's only taking money if you make the sales. So usually in the long run, Etsy tends to be cheaper. But I do think Etsy has an issue with like those payment reserves were getting out of hand. It didn't happen to me, but there's people that have been on the platform for like 10 years that Etsy was literally like holding their money and not giving it to them. While they can technically do that because like you gave them permission basically when you got on their platform, like that's not fair. Some people get into business and then start doing their business full time. So that is their income. So when you stop the money train from their sales, you're really like screwing with people's livelihoods. I don't like that. They have no system really, it seems, in place of like policing people who like take a picture of something sold on Alibaba and like try to sell it on Etsy. It's supposed to be handmade. They have rights to do patterns, likeness, work in general. Michaels has the rights to use your patterns. That seems really uncool, and I would be hesitant. You have to, this is why you have to read through the fine print, because everyone was like up in arms, like Etsy's stealing from me. But like if you go read their like policy changes, it pretty much tells you, like short of stealing your designs, that they could do like whatever they want and they don't have to give you your money like right away or anything. So like the payment reserves wasn't actually breaking any sort of rules. It's just like highly uncool because like your platform wouldn't exist without the sellers on it. And you wouldn't make money if the sellers aren't making money. So yeah, that seems sus. I know Etsy does kind of something similar in the way that they'll like feature you, but they'll also feature you shop. So they don't take credit for it. They're just like, this is our curated list of things that we think are in style right now. You can find these items at this shop. I don't know. That seems nuts. But I mean, I guess if you're signing up and like putting your stuff in the store, I don't know. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know that I would do that, but I would also have to look into that to make sure that's not being like misinterpreted. Like if you sell on eBay and you sell like things of like other people's stuff, like vintage, you know, it is your store and like you own the product, but you're not sitting there saying you make the product. So I don't know. People were saying they can do it even if you cut ties with them. Very sus. Yeah, very sus. Because if I was on a site like that, I'd want Michaels to be like, we really like this pattern, but you could go check out her other designs here. Especially if they were like making money off of me, like they better credit me. But then again, I don't know. You just have to read the fine print because I do freelance writing, and a lot of my business at first was ghostwriting, meaning I wrote the content, but the website completely took credit for the content. But like that was my business for a long time, and like they had full permission to do so. And a lot of times to be able to link to that article with other clients, I had to ask for permission because I basically was like selling them my work as their own. So I couldn't just be like, hey, I wrote this, because it like, you know, that's crazy. Yeah, Facebook's sometimes unreliable, but sometimes I see stuff posted on Facebook that's like insane and then it turns out to be like super true. So Facebook just be knowing things, you know? Like, I had no idea that there was a hurricane until I seen it on Facebook because I try not to watch the news because it's super depressing. So yeah. And then people were acting like it was gonna be like straight up revelations in the Bible and it's coming right for us. But I looked it up and this time it really is like coming right at us. But we're pretty far inland, so it'll probably be fine. I just hope in the past they turn. And if it turns, it's gonna like go toward middle southern Florida, which would be like Fort Myers area again. And like they're not recovered from last year, I'm sure. I don't go down that way, but I can only imagine. But yeah, do you guys have any other questions about markets? I feel like I get off on tangents, but it's like useful information. Like people want to know where the good yarn is, where the good patterns are, what good websites are to sell on. Oh yeah, we'll be fine. We've got water. We got toilet paper. Not that that's like something we intentionally did. We just happened to shop over the weekend. So we're like stocked up. We're not super canned food people. Like frozen vegetables better because I like when they're crispy. But we've got some like cans of tuna, stuff like that. And we got a propane grill, and it's very Floridian of us to go outside in the hurricane to like use the grill to cook because, if the power goes out, you don't need power for propane. So we'll be fine. We are in, I call it a manufactured home, so it sounds fancy, but we're in a straight up trailer, so that's not ideal. But like I said, we're pretty far inland, and there is a lake, but the lake's like at least a mile away, so it'd really have to like rain something fierce to like take us out. And the trees on our property, thankfully, are pretty like far away. The big one in the back could technically fall, but that tree's got to be like hundreds of years old. It's like super tall, and she's rooted in there pretty well. So I'm not super nervous. Zach should probably move his truck that's parked under it. So if a limb does break off, it doesn't like take out the truck. But a truck was built in like 1980, so it's on its last leg anyway. It needs jumped every time we start it. But that's our truck for dump runs. So she's useful. But yeah, as far as market prep goes, for me personally, like I said, I got to tag my items. I got to get my new items into my Square Reader. I have to figure out my new setup because I've got the grid walls, which I'm going to do a video at one point soon, hopefully, about everything that I just got for my markets because I got a new style of keychain. I got the like ones that are like a chain with like the plastic hook now. I think those are super cute. I'm going to use those for a couple items that were small that weren't keychains. I'm going to go back and like use tweezers to like pull the chain through and turn them into keychains and see if they sell better that way. Just because I've been like holding on to that stuff for a while, and I think as a keychain it might sell better. Like my lid, specifically speaking, about my little fidget things that are like the marble pushers. I think I've sold like one of those, which I think they're great because ADHD. I like them, but I think they'd sell better if I just like ran a keychain through them, so they were like a portable like silent fidget. We have to go through, oh yeah, ahead of time. Always make sure you charge your Square Reader before you go. If you take a fan, like I said, we live in Florida and it's hot, so we always take like a little mini fan and it like hangs right from my tent. Make sure you like charge your things like that ahead of time. We have a power bank, so if my phone starts to die, which runs my Square Reader, we have like a way to charge that. So make sure you charge that stuff ahead of time. Your weights, you should always, always, always bring weights and always, always, always use your weights, even if the weather seems like it's going to be nice, because it takes one good gust of wind and your tent is like later days out of there. I've literally seen it happen. So bring your weights and use them every time, no matter what. If your event allows you to stake into the ground and you're on actual ground, because sometimes you could be on pavement, use those stakes, because I've seen a whole tent with a gust of wind come up, flip, and go straight to a tree, and the tree like karate chopped the tent in half. Like the middle of the roof, legs facing that way, just bent it. And like the legs were suddenly like outwards like this. And it was just a mess. And can you imagine if that flew toward a person and not a tree? The tent probably would have been in better shape, but I guarantee you the person that took out would have been very unhappy, if not very, very injured. So, yes. For weights, I've seen people have like, they look like weight plates and you fill them with like sand and stuff like that. They also have sandbags that you fill with sand. I don't like being dirty. So, and I didn't want to put sand in my car. So I literally took my dumbbells and like shoved them into like our sandbag sacks and then like closed it. Ours have like a Velcro. And so that's what we use. And then I know exactly how much weight is actually in it. My like 8 and 10 pound, I think they are, fit into the like slot bag part like perfectly. So then I know exactly how much weight. And some events literally have like a 40-pound per leg minimum for your tent. So I don't know if it actually fits in the boxes, but I did just buy the boxes. I have one that I'm going to make that I bought. Here, let me go find that. Oops. I clicked on my browser, but it just brought up Audible. I was listening to the Harry Potter book, Crocheting, the third one, because I'm a nerd. I hope the one I bought fits the boxes, and I can't remember if I seen the person doing this one and then bought the pattern, or if I had just like found the pattern and then bought it. So I hope it fits. So I don't guarantee it'll fit, but I do guarantee this is the one I have with the intention to fit into my boxes. So where is it? I've got so many patterns that I need to make. Shield Maiden Crochet is the pattern. I'll get the link. It looks like it would fit, but it also looks like she made it with like Parfait Chunky. Oh, cool, that worked. Yeah, it also looks like it was made with Parfait Chunky, and I tend to use Burnout Blanket, which is a little bit thicker, so I might need to like size down my hooks like super hard. Oh yeah, so always bring your weights, bring any signage you have. There's like other important things. Oh, tablecloths, don't forget your tablecloths. I like to ahead of time, and there's like different YouTubers that have their own like lists. I like to just write a list of everything I need to bring and then literally check it off as it goes into the car, because I have like such a fear of forgetting things, especially because most of my events are like minimum half hour away. So there is not any coming back to get it. Gallon jugs with water. Yeah, that's a good idea. Water is heavy, y'all. Like for sure. Especially if you do like a little bit of sand in the bottom of that and then fill it with water. That's basically, we have an umbrella on our deck now. That's like a little porch. That's basically filled mostly with water, but with some dirt in there too. So it makes it super heavy. What else is important? Oh, be mindful of how you dress too. Like, I'm not saying you have to look like business professional or anything, or that you can't like wear shorts. But the girl whose tent got karate chopped by the tree was wearing a cute dress, no shorts underneath. So when she was trying to like retrieve her broken to shiz tent, she was having like wardrobe issues. So I have a dress on right now, but there's like shorts built into it. Like, so if you want to wear a dress, put some like Spanx under it, put some yoga shorts under it, get something with built-in shorts. So you're like covered if you need to bend over, because she definitely was mad enough that she didn't want help. Well, she said she didn't want help. We all tried to continue to like help her because she wasn't going to get this monstrosity like back herself. But she was like holding her dress with one hand, trying to pick up her tent that was now like twice the width because it just got karate chopped by herself, and it just wasn't gonna work. It just wasn't gonna work. Bless her heart, poor thing. So yes, be mindful of what you wear. I have a business shirt that I made through Vistaprint. I just took my design for my logo, put it on a shirt. Made a more like manly version of the design without like the floral border around it for Zach that he wears. And then I wear like bike shorts because they're like a good length, but they're still shorts, and they got like a pocket on the side. So like if I'm trying to take money real fast, I could slide it in the pocket, or I have my phone in my pocket. So that's like super helpful. Be mindful if you're going to wear like nice shoes that you could be walking in dirt or even mud. So if you're wearing your like snazzy white tennis shoes, maybe don't do that unless you want to go home and clean them after with like baking soda and toothpaste to like re-whiten them. Also, if you're going to wear heels, be mindful because you could be on dirt and like a stiletto is going to sink right into the ground. You might be able to get away with wedges, but also, do you want to wear heels and like potentially stand for like 4, 6, 8 hours, depending on the length of the event? Maybe take that into consideration. Also, like other weather, like Florida's always hot, so I like to wear my hair up. I usually wear it up super high, like super high ponytail, so people can like see my crochet scrunchie because I sell these. So then they could see it, and I get asked like, "Oh, do these actually like hold your hair up?" Like, why would I sell a scrunchie that didn't hold your hair up? But this is like messy bun. But yeah, I wear it to where you could see it, and I'll be like, yeah, of course they work. I've got super thick hair. Buy it. It's good for you. Probably don't say it like that. Oh, that reminded me. I was just watching Cameron from like Cameron's Cute Creations, her like tips for selling at like craft fairs, and she said something about don't be too pushy, and then her example was for an August market, this lady kept telling her like, oh, this is good for Christmas, it makes like a good stocking stuffer or something along that lines. And to me personally, and not to talk shiz because I love her, I enjoy her like really bubbly energy and her like chai lattes and all that. This is just from one creator to another, from one crochet person to another. I disagreed with that being pushy. Now, I wasn't there for the exact exchange, so maybe she just wasn't explaining well. But I think it can be done strategically if you're at an August or September market to say something like, oh, you know, I've had people buy these and they make great stocking stuffers without it sounding pushy. So I just didn't want anybody like to hear that and think like you can't pitch your stuff that way, especially because I've had men, bless their little hearts, not knowing that people just buy things because they're cute, ask me like, what's this for? Like holding a plushie. And in all honesty, just to look at as usually the answer. So I try to like jazz that up a little bit by saying, oh, they make great birthday gifts. I do a lot of custom orders like through my Etsy, and people get like memorial objects made. Like I've done a lot of like deceased pets. And they make great stocking stuffers for Christmas time, especially if you have like any younger kids in the family, that kind of vibe. And then I recently pitched somebody, I feel like I'm going to sneeze again. I'm getting like all congested. That like crochet flowers are like, they always turn out like super pretty, and then they're flowers that don't die. So for like Mother's Day or like an anniversary, you can get a bouquet of crochet flowers and then they like won't die. So that's a to look at, but like more functional than like just a turtle. But yeah, so I just wanted to give my thoughts on that. I don't think that was being like overly pushy, but like I said, I didn't hear the exchange, and she doesn't seem like anybody that can be like pushed around. I feel like not that she's like opinionated, but I just feel like she could hold her own. So it probably was something that was said But then the lady like kept going. I don't know. But yeah, just don't be afraid to like talk to your customers and give like your honest opinion about something, like what it could be used for. And then she said also to be like open to feedback, which I definitely like agree with. But she was saying it in a way like take suggestions. I've had a lot of people, and I'll use this example again, tell me that I should do like washcloths and towel toppers and like face scrubbies, even like other crochet artists at the events who do those kind of things. But I just don't think that it fits with like my plushies. So if I ever do make that kind of thing, like I might have like one bin, but I'm never going to be at an event trying to stock everything. Like I'm not going to be the person there that has plushies, that has clothes, that has like towel toppers and like other home decor things. I'm majority going to be like stuffed items, and like that's it. I'm still, as it is, trying to phase out my baby stuff because my baby stuff doesn't sell that good anymore. Just because like the plushies just do better because they can be for like everybody. Whereas like baby stuff, you have to like know somebody having a baby or be having a baby. So it's kind of hard to bring that kind of stuff to markets and sell it. So yeah, just take the feedback and like hear it and like consider it. You don't always have to listen. Now her example was like if someone keeps coming up to you and asking for like a purple turtle, maybe make a purple turtle. Like I get asked about if I have any turtles all the time, or dinosaurs, which I also don't really love making. That's why I made up my own patterns, which will be released soon. I had them tested, and it turns out my count on the Triceratops was off, and like everybody told me it was off, but this is why we test. I get asked about those a lot. So for this next event, I'm making sure that I have turtles and dinosaurs because they sell well. There are a few of us friends that crochet. We all make something different and we go to craft shows together. Yeah, see, I like that. I've been at events with other crocheters, but we all had a different type of product. I had an older lady that I was by, and she was definitely in the like towel topper, scrubby, like dishes scrubby with, I don't know, plastic yarn. It was nuts. And like face scrubbies. So like I'm definitely cool with other crocheters being there with that kind of thing. I got a little salty one time when I was at an event and there was another crochet person that did like plushies, because I had a little girl and her friend come into my booth and her friend was super interested in buying one of my things. She was like, the friend of the little girl was like, do you really want to buy that? That's like, and like good looking out, a full size flamingo, and I was like, this was only $10 at that other store, and I'm just like, bro, do you want me to turn the other cheek so you could just get me on that side too? But I mean, good looking out, because that is like very, they must have been like 8. That's like a very like good sense to not spend all your money in one place, but also it's hard to sell plushies when you're someone like me who like prices what you're worth when you are against somebody that is like way underpricing, because it like helps perpetuate the stereotype that crochet is like easy, which it can be, especially if you already know how to do it, but like there's a learning curve, believe me. And that it's like just like hobby free time stuff. It like hurts for people like me, and I'm sure some of you who are trying to do this as like a legitimate business. I would never sell something this big for $10. Never, ever, ever. Like maybe to my like bestest friend, she gets like a deep family discount, but I still charge my friends and family. No shame in my game. Like yarn costs money, and my time costs money. And my daughter keeps asking me to like make her things, but I'm like, listen, I've got 4 to 5 orders in my queue right now, 2 writing jobs to do this week, about a billion things left to do for my market. I need to like do this stuff before I think about making you something for free. Heart your face. Now I do give crochet gifts on occasion, to friends and family, but like they don't ask. I just do it. And sometimes it's late. Like I'm still making my mother-in-law's dog since May. But like my business is doing well, so I just don't have the time. Yeah, see, that is helpful. I have done a couple events with my friend in the next booth over, never in the same booth, but like I could see you guys all being like a different kind of crochet all together because you each will have your strengths. Like your friend who like does clothes will like be super good at that. I find that like you're either the kind of person that likes crocheting in the round and really appreciates a magic ring, or you're the kind of person that likes to crochet like Rose, and likes what I call monotony crochet, like the kind of people who enjoy making blankets. You're rarely the kind of person who loves it all. So like I could see catering to like everybody's crochet needs, but on an individual basis. But I wouldn't try to be like the jack of all trades because then like it's hard to figure out who your target customer is. Like, are they there for a crop top or are they there for like a dish scrubby, you know? That's just my opinion. And like if it works for you guys that way, which I could see if you're all like doing something different but together, like I could see that working better than being one person trying to do all the things. And like I just don't know how you would even like have the time to prep all that. But then again, a lot of people who do crochet businesses I've noticed are like younger than me and have less kids. So I've seen older crochet people that are like, yeah, I don't really do markets anymore. And I could kind of see why. It's like exhausting. But yeah, it definitely cuts the cost of the booth. I did an event with my mom who does not do crochet, who does like tie-dye t-shirts and things. And it was nice to be able to like split the cost of the booth with her. But I really do think her being like something completely different than like plushies, I definitely think it hurt my sales. Like they seemed lower that time. And that could have just been a fluke for the event because obviously you have some events that are like, and then you've got some events that are like, it's a good one. I like this one. But yeah, I just think they were either there for my stuff or for her stuff and not for our stuff. Though one lady did say that she like makes baby cakes. So she'll take different baby items like diapers, stuffies, clothes, and make like a cake out of it and sell those. So that was kind of like a way for it to be both. But obviously, the average customer is not going to do both. But yeah, doing events with people, that was always more fun. I'm going to have to do the next several events by myself. Well, my friend will be at one of them, but I usually have Zach go with me and he helps set up my big stuff because I'm a delicate little flower. And I don't know how people like do all the setup by themselves. I'd need to be there like 4 hours early. There's just no way. I can't open the tables, guys. I really can't. And then I'm short, 5'2", so like pushing up the tent, how? And then I see like Katie being creative, like doing the whole thing by herself. And she's like, what, like 19? And I'm just getting schooled by like a 19-year-old, basically child. I've been working out though a little bit. But yeah, he usually goes with me and then stays and we like chat, which is nice between customers. But we have no one to babysit my kids for like the next several events. So he's going to go help me set up with like the kids in the car and then like leave with them. So I'm going to be there all by myself. And I'm like socially awkward. So if you get nervous before events and like doing them by yourself, just know, as someone who does them a lot, I kind of feel the same way. But like once you get in it, and like I said earlier, and you're like setting up, you just get into like the zone. Like, okay, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. So it usually fades the initial nerves because you've just got so much to do that you don't actually have time to prioritize being nervous. Of course, it's different for everybody, but a big tactic that I've used in like all my businesses is fake it till you make it. Like act like you know what you're doing. And people who don't do the thing you do don't know that you don't know what you're doing and that you're faking it. So it helps. Like YouTube, I don't know what I'm doing, but I've done it like enough times, and then most of you guys don't do it, that you don't know that it took me like 20 minutes to set up doing this live stream, and that I tried to do it on like the Safari browser on my computer and got told it's not supported and had to go over to like Chrome. Like, you guys didn't see any of like my freaking out before I came on here. So that tactic definitely helps, I feel like. Yeah, see, it's always fun to do it with a friend, but if you're two different like styles and two different types of like clientele, it's gonna be hard because they're either gonna come in for her or come in for you and not for both of you. So one person's getting the money and the other person's not, and that can kind of suck. What do you guys do? Let me, the professional, ask you do at crochet events or like other market events when you're by yourself? Do you like crochet? I don't want to be on my phone because I think that looks like not approachable, but so much of like doing plushies involves counting. So I just feel like that'd be like hard to do. I've done it before, but that's because I have like Zach with me. So he could do the initial greeting. I could get to a stopping point and then I could like jump in, you know? Do you guys like, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be awkward. I'm glad this is the first event to get back into the season because I haven't done an event since April. I'm glad this first event, my friend's going to be in like the booth next to me so I could like chat with her a little bit. So it's like rips the Band-Aid a little like easier before I'm like 100% thrown to the wolves all by my little lonesome because I don't know what to do. I will probably bring crochet stuff, but I will also probably just awkwardly walk around my booth and like keep adjusting my stuff and try to look approachable, pretty much. Do you guys have any other questions about markets and like information that you want that I may have, or at least I could share my perspective? Because like I do label myself like a crochet artist and like a seller on like Etsy and at markets, but I definitely don't proclaim to know like everything. I can just give you like my perspective and what I found that's worked for me and share my like insights into things that have like not gone over super well for me, like sharing a booth or you know, watching someone wear like a really nice dress that they can't bend over in, because like if you have to bend over, now you're holding your dress with one hand and trying to do stuff with the other hand. It doesn't really work. Another thing, go earlier than you think you need to go, though. That's like a big tip. Like if they tell you that setups from 7 to 9, especially if this is your first event and you've like only your yard, go at 7 and do it. I've seen people show up with like 20 minutes to spare. Like, not to call out my friend, but at the last market we went to, she was still setting up when it officially started, which I feel like. You okay, buddy?
Jagger better.
Yeah, Jagger better? You seem better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get my cracker.
Okay, get your crackers.
My cracker in the minute.
If you want your cheesy, you could have it. It's right there. Not right now. I don't want him to think that he should go outside again too. Because if he wants to go, he'll like maybe get sick again. He just needs to recover. He's sensitive like his mom. Just go watch your show or crochet or do school.
Ready to school.
Did you or did Zach have to check that thing?
He has to check it, and I did do school.
Well, go remind him he's got to check it.
And I'm
Thank you.
Outside.
We're gonna take a break on that. Jagger got sick. It's getting like late in the day, so stuff's gonna start picking up probably here soon. But yeah, my friend was still setting up into the event And I feel like it deters people from, like Cameron was talking about this too, from, like, coming over to the area because they think, like, we're all still setting up or, like, maybe that area is not ready, and it makes not only you, but the people around you, like, a little more unapproachable. So, it's just not a good look for your own business and for the people around you if you are still setting up at time. And like I said, if you're not super experienced and you don't like have your setup like down, which I still don't think my setup's down even before I changed it, I will get there as early as I'm like allowed to. And I'd rather, set up from 7 to 8. The event doesn't start till 9. And then I'm like, just chill 8 to 9. I can walk around because I usually don't get to see much of the event because I'm in my booth. I'd rather that than like the alternative. And some events, if you're late, you won't be asked back. Like they're gonna like note you, and when you like apply next year, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, we're full." No. Same goes for leaving early. Like unless you have an actual like emergency, don't leave early unless the coordinator tells you you're like allowed to, because a lot of them have the same kind of rule. Like if you leave early, like you're donezo. It's just not a good look. Like they're paying money to have the event. You've paid money to be at the event. And sometimes people have paid money to come to the event. So you need to like represent yourself and the place that you're at in like a professional manner. So if you can do an event, make sure you're fully committed to doing an event. Yes, Susan, you're technically 100% right. You're not supposed to sell licensed products. There are some people that can get away with it that have like acquired the license one way or another to sell the item. But that's not the case for most people. Like I see a lot of Groots, I see a lot of Yodas, I see a lot of Grogus. Like that's the baby Yoda Mandalorian guy thing, alien thing. Um, Technically, that is, there's no other way to say it, against the law to do so. As far as things related to like video game characters like Zelda and like Pokemon, like things you'd find at Comic-Con, except for Star Wars now. Though the owner, like Sony, they won't like come down on you super hard. Like they almost encourage you to make fan art and bring it to like Comic-Con to sell, like because that hypes up the game, the movie, that kind of thing. So it's like mutually beneficial. So they don't tend to go after like small creators and sue them. But Disney has literally sued small businesses for making and selling unlicensed Disney content. So I just wouldn't do it. Um, I did make, and I realized like after the fact, I'm like, what am I doing? I did make a Freddy Krueger that I was gonna bring to my event because I'm like, oh, this will sell great. And then I'm like, oh wait, this is a licensed character. Like I can't do that. So I've only made the one of that pattern pack because it was like 4 like horror movie characters. And I bought it on Etsy, so I technically supported a shop selling things illegally, but it was cute. So I've only made the one because I can't have them like at my market, and I'll just keep them for myself or give them to my sister or something. But yeah, there are ways around this. Like certain things go into what's called public domain after some time, like Alice in Wonderland's in the public domain. Next year, Winnie the Pooh, not the red shirt Pooh, will be in the public domain. The like naked bear Pooh, you can make Winnie the Pooh things. And you'll have to check because I don't think it's all the characters yet. Like Tigger was introduced later, so I don't think he'll be in the public domain. Frankenstein, though, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, is in the public domain. So I have that Frankenstein pattern that is legally allowed because it's covered by public domain. So you just have to do your research about what's legally allowed to be sold and what's not. I will say, and I'm not telling you to do it or not do it, I will say, in most instances, you're not going to get into the actual legal trouble. You could. But if you make like $100 at an event because you like sold a couple baby Yodas, I don't think Disney is going to come after you for that. It's when you start like raking in like big dough, they'll sit back and like wait for you to rake in the big dough, so it's worth it to like sue you. That it really becomes an issue. So it's best avoided, but it does happen. But just know that it's a thing, because I don't think people realize like it's a thing. There's caveats to this too, and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not telling you one way or the other, but like spoof art is a thing, like parody art. That's how that movie like Blood and Honey that has the Winnie the Pooh is a thing, even though it's like unlicensed Disney. They're like making fun of Winnie the Pooh, and it's like a Winnie the Pooh horror movie basically. That's how that's a thing. That I'm claiming is what my Harry Otter's covered under. That's like my spoof art, because it's not actually Harry Potter, it's Harry Otter. So there are like caveats to that. So just be aware. But yeah, most of the time it's not allowed, and it's best avoided unless you're willing to pay a lot of money for being sued for doing it. Like some people make squishmallow versions of things. I'm pretty sure squishmallow, that concept is like trademarked, so you're not allowed to do that. Yeah, see, I've thought about doing Pokeballs, but I also can't be on this platform telling you guys like you probably shouldn't and then go and do it myself. So I haven't, but I would buy a Pokeball from like a small creator. I will say that. I just think it's cool. And the lady who made the like Pokemon crochet book, because there's like an amigurumi book that's full Pokemon characters, Harry Potter too. Those people like were able to like obtain the license to do the had permission from like the owner of the thing to do that. Yeah, I just don't do it because it's like not a good look for me to just steer you guys away from it and then do it myself. So yeah, just do your research. And it's uncool. And as far as Etsy goes, if you are caught with like trademark things, they will first you have to be the owner to report another shop. So like I can't go and see somebody's like Disney cups and like try to report them. You actually have to have like the trademark for Etsy to give a crap. So that's issue 1 with Etsy. And for 2, you'll get a couple like chances about it, but a lot of times if someone's shop is shut down, the first thing they'll do is run over to Facebook and be like, Etsy shut down my shop for no explanation. And then you look at like what the people were selling and it was all trademark stuff. Like they didn't shut you down for no reason. You broke the rules. So if you have these Pokeballs, I would keep that in person sales. Do not put that on Etsy, because if someone that like owns the Pokeballs wanted to report you, a lot of times Etsy is going to come over and be like, yeah, you're donezo on our platform, get off. And at that point, I'm pretty sure they're allowed to keep any like pending money. And not only can you not sell again on the platform, you also will just be entirely IP banned, which means you're not even allowed to go onto Etsy as a buyer anymore too. So if you're like me and buy some of your like craft supplies on Etsy and then get banned from Etsy, like that would really just be bad. And it'll like ban anybody that's like in your house too. So like if Zach wanted to go on Etsy, even though I got banned because we share like the same IP address, he would like not be able to. So just something to keep in mind if you do Etsy and you have your like Pokeballs. Yeah, see, I'm gonna be the person standing there, I feel like too. But I'll just probably like fluff things up, make sure everything's staged nice. And I mean, I'll crochet some, but it's gonna be a pattern that's probably small, like more octos or like chunky boy mushrooms, where the round is like 24 stitches like in total. So if I have to frog because I lost count, I'm not losing a ton of time. Or like something like my bees would be something good to do, because you almost don't have to count because of the way the color changes are. You could just crochet around until you hit like the color change part and you could see it. But yeah, that's a good tip. Definitely don't be on your phone at events, because if you're looking down on your phone, like, you just look unapproachable, and it's like a turn off, you know? I not saying you have to like greet everybody like, "Hey, welcome to my booth. Come on in. Let me know if you like need any help. I make this, I make that." And, it doesn't have to be like a 20-minute spiel, but like a good morning, maybe a welcome if you're like comfortable, and then just like, if you have any questions, let me know. And if you do notice someone paying particular interest to something, you can like, insert your thoughts about it. Like someone was holding, um, what was it? My Katie being creative mushroom that I modified, that I'm now calling ice cream because we live in Florida and it's hot. And I realized that I don't like how I changed it and it looks more like ice cream anyway. Someone was holding it and I could tell they were confused, and I just told them what it was, You could do that. And then of course you like answer questions the best you can. Yeah, a simple hi does work too. Just like a hello. I try to like smile at people as they go by too. That helps like look approachable. But sometimes like I really got to like think about what my face is doing, because I don't know if this is true for you guys, but I've got like crochet bee face. So I'll be like crocheting and I like look angry and unapproachable. So like I've got to like, a few times to like loosen it all up. I think it comes from having kids. I just sit with an angry face. Um so yeah, that's another reason why I'm concerned about crocheting. And like if I'm awkwardly staring off into space, I got to like try to be mindful about what my face is doing, because I don't want to look pissed off. Yeah, I thought about making a shirt that says resting crochet face, but I don't know if someone's like resting bee face. So, but I just think it would be funny with like a ball of yarn and a crochet hook. And if anybody steals my idea, please give me some money for it, even if it's just $1. But I just think it'd be funny. But yeah, just a simple hi can work too. I usually do the like, if you have questions, let me know, just because it does open conversation up if someone has any questions about the item, because people don't know the difference between like crochet and knit a lot. So usually one of the first questions asked like, "Oh, so this is knit?" And I'm like, "No, it's crochet." And then it goes into the conversation about what the difference is and everything. And then a lot of people ask, one of their first questions is, "How long does this stuff take you to make?" Because like they're familiar with the concept of crochet, but no, it's like a time-consuming task. So it just kind of opens up for you to be able to like talk more about your business and your products and your like process, basically. Because a lot of the events I do are specifically for like handmade items. Um, and that's like a whole other like topic about like the different types of like craft show, craft fair, market events, and whether they're all like handmade or whether you can be like an MLM, multi-level marketing, aka pyramid scheme, like the Pampered Chef, like that's pyramid scheme, stuff like that. Whether those events like let in that kind of vendor. So, but yeah, all that to say is hi works too, but that's just not how I do it. But if you're awkward, that's all you need to out, and that's better than nothing, for sure. Like, it's not advisable, and this is just my opinion. So if you do this, please don't feel like called out or that I'm telling you you're doing it wrong. I feel like you need to say something, but it doesn't have to be a lot, because just like staring, just it's going to make everybody uncomfortable, you know? um Hello, welcome. Jamie, is that like the male version or the female version? And also I like it. I almost named my last baby Jamie. I was going to do like for like the boy version. I think it's a cute name. And yeah, welcome. Let me know if you have any questions. We're covering crochet, market event type stuff. Oh, female. Yep. See, I pretty much guessed, because like 99.9% of the people who watch my channel are females between like 30s and 50s. But you never know. I like it though. Oh no. It could be my computer or it could be yours, but there's a hurricane coming, so it could be from mine. I don't know if my Wi-Fi affects your guys' viewing. I'm sure it does, but you know. But yeah, if you guys have any, I'll probably finish this up because this is going to be a long replay. And people who were just here for information, I want them to be able to have it within, a timely fashion. And I'll like link everything that I talked about below when it goes to the replay. I know I can go back. I'm sure I can do it from here, but I don't know how to do it. I'm going to go back and like link to my square video if you guys need help with setting up your square. I'm going to link to like my market setup if you want ideas for like market setup. I do a U shape. That's my biggest tip is make sure no matter which way you set up your booth that you can like visualize how the customers can like walk through it. Because if they don't know how to like enter your booth, they won't enter your booth. And I personally am on team like enter my booth. My friend who does jewelry, she sets her tables up 10 foot a table just right across the front of her tent. The other like 8 foot behind her is totally open. She just kind of walks about. And no one enters her booth, but she's got a lot of smaller products, so it makes sense to have it right up front. But you just kind of have to decide what you think works best. And I like to picture the flow of traffic. So, like, if I know people are going to be walking, from this way around, I will make sure that like my better stuff is like the first thing they see along this wall. Just because as they're coming around, that's going to be the first thing they see, and that's going to help like draw them in. That kind of vibe. So just pay attention to that. And as far as like setting up your tables go, we covered this earlier, but like don't overthink it. I think I did that in the beginning. So I have a lot of displays now that I'm like starting to phase out now that I've done like a fair amount of events because they just don't make sense. Like I bought a lot of things that don't break down. And I bought a lot of things that just aren't great for plushies unless they like sit up perfectly, and not all of them do. That's always the worst. When you think you've got something like that's gonna like work, and then you're like it's sitting like this and it doesn't look good, and then people are reaching in and it's falling down. And when crochet lands on like dirt, it's like, am I gonna be able to dust that off, or did I just ruin it? Yep. So, but yeah, just pay attention to like your tables and how you're set it up and like how you're presenting yourself, but don't overthink it. Yeah, it's simple how it works. Anybody else have any questions before I like later days out of here? Like I said, I'll link everything that I talked about in the description box when that happens. And my like grid walls if anybody wants to spend the amount of money. I do think, I wonder if I can take you through my house. Here, we're going on a trip. I'm on my laptop because it's the best way to do the lives, I feel like. But I'll show you my grid walls because I look like awesome. But so many dollars. Ain't it nice? I got my little bins. I wanted to make more aliens. I just don't think I'm going to have time because of like all my orders. And my first market is on Saturday and it's Tuesday. But then I have like my little Halloween bin. This was going to be my sea creatures, though I've only got one lonely axolotl. This was more like sea creatures and like frog things. Then we get into like birds. And this was like my kind of cottagecore stuff. These are my two like big pieces. And then I made these little milk and cookies from Instagram. My dumpling is not in his dumpling pot. I've got the chickens. That's my dinosaur bin. That's not got anything yet. So I might like take everything down and like spread it out more. But, oh, this is all my octos. I've got $5 octos, $7 octos, $9 octos, $11 octos. This random guy is going to be a $13 octo. And then these are $15 octos. That's all the stuff I have to price. And this is more like sea creatures. I've got baby shark. I technically did the baby sharks in like the baby shark family colors, but I don't think that's like infringing because they don't actually look like the character. I just did a color scheme. And then some whales, and then some whales, and then the crab. But they look good. They were just insane expensive. But I got all the bins, and I even got keychain hooks because I figured I could phase out like a whole table almost if I just hang my keychains from this. But I haven't figured out like how it's going to work yet. So how does this work with conjunctionary tables? Or are you getting rid of tables? I think I want to keep one table. So far, this is what I thought. I've got a table that I normally do my scrunchies and my headbands on because they're like hair accessories and they go side by side basically. So I thought about leaving that on the 4-foot table, having this just like across the back of my booth in place of the 6-foot table, and then getting rid of like the other table. But I still have baby stuff I'm selling. I've got like rattles, teether rings. Oh, and then I had like candles too that I still had left over because I was doing jam and candles. Not that they go together. Oh, that's what having markets stuff looks like in my house. Isn't it nice? It's great. I love looking at it every day, just stacked up there. But I don't think it's going to completely phase out my tables is my point. But I do think it's going to downsize tables and like open up space in my booth, which I think it'll be nice. Because usually Zach, because I had this as my original setup, instead of doing grid walls because they were so expensive, I got like grid cube shelf, and it didn't work as good as I had hoped. It wasn't bad, and I've done fine at events with it, but it just wasn't like optimal in the way that I like wanted it to be. So I've recycled my cubes into my lovely yarn wall. This is all the yarn I own except for what's on the table that needs to go in here. And that was just from me restocking colors from like the big order that I did that had like the like 8 plushies in it. I used up a lot of yarn. So yeah, I'm definitely getting rid of that, which basically downsizes one table because now it could go on the grid shelf. But as far as the like non-plushy things, I'm still probably going to have a table for that. But yeah, I'm mostly using a grid wall for my display, but I'll have one other table. If I only had plushies, I would probably just use the grid wall. But I've also never used them at an event. So like I'm worried people are going to be like intimidated touching things on it. And I feel like that's a lot of the appeal of plushies is that they're plush. So I want people to come up and touch it. And I'm also worried because kids are like my main demographic most of the time. I'm also worried that they're going to see something or not even see something that's like up at the top. That's why I put a lot of the like smaller, cheaper items on the bottom. Like the octos, that whole shelf only goes up to $15. I had the dinosaurs. Most of those dinosaurs are $15. Though the bigger one, I think I'm doing for $25. I want the stuff like accessible to who it needs to be accessible to. People push that like mantra too much, that vertical height, vertical height, vertical height thing. I know you guys have heard it, but I think it matters who your demographic is because when they say vertical height, they really mean at eye level to your customer. And if your customer stands 4 feet tall, on the table is like the best place because then they could see and touch everything they need to see and touch. And then they ask their mom and dad and they give me money. Yeah, putting them together can be time consuming, but yeah, the tables are heavy. I think how we're going to do it, but we have a van, so this isn't going to work for everybody. I think how we're going to do it is leave them put together, but also have them like turned on their side so I can like put stuff, they're basically like forming a right angle with their legs. So I can put like the little fan and the like power box on like this side where it's like close to the van wall and the like little right angle here. And then on this side I could do like my big totes for like all my plushies. I think that's how we're going to do it. Or we've got a roof rack on our van, but I know like a lot of people, if you go to events in cars, I don't know how realistic bringing a grid wall is going to be, but they also have smaller grid walls that are more like tabletop grid walls. So that might be something to look into if you like that like look and that organizational system, but you don't have like a way to transport it. But yeah, I am nervous about transporting them, and we're better off than a lot of people because we don't have like a little Ford or Honda. We've got a like big van. And especially if we drop the kids off somewhere first and leave their car seats with them, we can go as far as like laying the seats in the back down, and we basically have about as much space as like the bed of a truck. Like I've put, not in this van, but when I had a van back in the day when I only had one kid, I was able to put like a full twin mattress like in the back of my van, just like fine. But yeah, that's my setup that I haven't figured out how I'm going to set up, which is basically why I wanted to cover this like topic, because newer people get hung up on like how much to make, and really what I think is more important is figuring out how you're going to display what you're going to make and how you're going to get it there, and do you have everything to like process sales, because it's super easy to overlook stopping at the bank to get your money for your cash box or charging your Square reader, and then all of a sudden those 100 plushies you made, can't sell them now. So yeah, in future videos, and at this point I think I'm just gonna pay an editor to do a couple of videos for me so I can get them out. I've got some like how much can I make in a days coming up. I've got what I hope is going to be like a more refined version of this, where I give the same type of information, but like not 2 hours. And then I also want to show you the stuff that I got for my markets, and probably in a separate video what I've got for like my crochet stuff for my house, because I've had these types of bins for a while. I use them like in my bathroom and in my pantry, because the walls are almost completely straight, so they sit side by side without like wasting space. They're not like this, where if you put them side by side, you've got like a lot of wasted space. I've got like all my crochet books. Someone had recently asked me about what crochet books I have, and I know Lauren, what's her name? Lauren Espy just put out like a new book. So we're going to be talking about that. Oh, novelty yarns. I've got some like new novelty yarns that I want to tell you guys about, and then like how I organize my yarn. So yeah, that's all coming in like future videos. And then if I didn't get to your question, or like you're watching this in the replay and you have other questions, please like leave them in the comments below, because I am going to be putting together a video where I answer like all your guys' questions, because I have other questions that people have asked, like how to fix coning, how to make sure your sides are like straight, and all of the things like that. So that's what's coming if I can get a break on orders and markets. I think after this weekend, things will settle down a little bit, because my next market after this weekend isn't until October. And after this weekend, I'll be down to like 3 orders and not 5, unless I get more orders, but I extended my like processing time. So that does deter people a little bit, but I mean, if you can't do the orders, like you shouldn't take the order. But yes, that's what's coming. And I promise I'm still here, and I still like heart all your faces. I just got really busy, so I just wanted to like show you guys proof of life. I'm still here and I'm still doing crochet stuff. I didn't like abandon my channel like so many people who get into YouTube do. I just got busy, and yeah, but I appreciate all you guys for being here and for like sharing your like thoughts and insights on, you know, crochet stuff, because I'm still learning too. Like there's so many people that do YouTube and Etsy and like crochet markets that have been doing all those things like way longer than I have, that I learn from every day. That's why I still, even though I'm like a crochet YouTuber, watch other crochet YouTube channels like Crochet by Gemma. I've been watching her a lot lately, and at this point I feel like she could sell me anything. Because I got the same keychains she had because she made the little like pot mushrooms and they were really cute on her like plastic keychains. So I just had to go get some plastic keychains. And I'm over here making turtles based off of like her turtles color schemes with her turtle pattern, you know? So it's nice. It gives you like good inspiration, I think. And thanks, yes. You could just watch the replay. It's like all there. Or it will all be there. I don't know. You could probably go back and watch it now. But obviously wouldn't still be live. But yeah, sorry there was like a lot of chatting and like sick babies in, but that's like my life. That's why I don't have time. I just wish there was more hours in the day, or that I like needed to sleep less, but I get crabby when I don't get enough sleep, so.
Can I have some the rest of the sushi?
Maybe not the rest of the sushi.
Can I have some crab? Because now you're making me hungry for crab. Some crab and some sushi.
Yeah, you can have that crab in there.
All of it? Or should I save you some?
I don't know how many is in there. Like, I had 2 pieces yesterday. I got that as like an appetizer.
I think there's like 4 of them left in there.
Okay, then half.
Okay.
Yeah. We got sushi yesterday. We're not fancy. I got it from Publix. But it was good.
Can I have some sushi with that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like 4-ish pieces of sushi, 2 pieces of crab. That makes like 6 pieces. That's like a sushi roll. Have like a sushi roll's amount of sushi. Because we just did lunch like a couple hours ago.
Yep.
And dinner's not for a couple hours. So yeah, good snack.
Dagger might be hungry because he threw up the whole entire content.
Yeah, I'm afraid to give him food, and if we do, we're probably going to give him just like a quesadilla or something light.
He looks fine.
He did look fine, but I forget what I was saying. But yeah, basically, I'm still here. I hope this was helpful, and I'm sorry that if you guys do come back and watch on the replay that there was like probably at least an hour and a half of like extraneous talking, but the information is in there, and I'll link everything in the description box. And I do want to try to do like one more live this week to like fulfill my like 2 uploads a week that I've been trying to do, except for last week when I had that order that had like 8 different things in it. Yeah, so I want to get like back on track, and I am gonna pay someone to edit my videos so I can help myself get back on track, even though I don't like paying somebody money for something that I can technically do myself. But I also feel like I'm leaving you guys hanging, and I don't like doing that. Like I literally did leave some of you guys hanging because I asked you guys to like pattern test for me. And I picked like 6 people to pattern test for me. And then like all 6 of them came back and said my triceratops pattern like wasn't working right. And I just must have counted that round wrong. It was like for the first set of legs. So of course it messed up the second set of legs. And then it took me like 3 days to respond because one of the 2 items I was making for that order that had 8 things in it, it was 4 of each item. One of those things took like 8 hours. So it was literally 4 days of making like half the order. And then the other half of the order I finished in like 2 days. But that was like an entire week where I didn't do writing jobs. I didn't do YouTube. I just like banged this order out. But it was a good order because it got me several $100s. It's nice. Sure.
There's 6.
Okay. But yeah, I did not mean to leave you guys hanging. And so this is me coming on and not leaving you guys hanging. I don't know what my other live stream is going to be about, but I'm going to try to pick a topic for it because my original live stream that I did was like a little bit of a mess. And I didn't crochet this time at all. So I got to go do that. But yeah, I'm going to like sign off here right at the 2-hour mark. Thank you guys for being here. I'm glad you guys are still watching my channel, even though I've been MIA. And I hope now that we're all getting into market season that you guys are like doing well and making some money And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. As I try to end this, okay.